Hello, and welcome to the October vlog, 10th vlog of the year. I can't believe we made it that far. I can't believe I kept my promise and actually made one every month. These are really felt like more like digital journals almost. And I think I'll be really happy to look back at them and see everything I've done in a year, even though not everything is included in those vlogs, obviously. But yeah, it reminds me of that for 2 years, I wrote down every single book that I've read. And I love going back through it. And I wrote like how much I liked them and like words that I associated with them. And I'm really angry at myself that I stopped doing this. And I think watching those vlogs back will really be like the same kind of feeling. So even though I've made zero progress in editing, and to be fair, I haven't really tried, I'm still really glad I did it. Even though, yeah, maybe it wasn't the most fun year, but I did loads of cultural stuff since I moved back to London, as you could see. And I think it'll be really nice to go back through all of that. So the month of October, what happened? So the month of October was supposed to be about healing. I feel like I say that every single month, and resting. But after what happened in September, and especially because my parents don't know what happened to me, because I haven't felt ready to tell them yet, I've actually spent most of the time in October at home taking care of my parents, cooking and helping them, because my dad's feeling a bit down at the moment, and my mom broke her foot, which you will see in the vlog. And I haven't cared about myself and my body that much, at least in the first part of the month. I didn't spend the whole month at home, sorry. I spent, I think, the first 18 days or something. But there's been some happy things as well. I went to Italy with my best friends from high school. Some were missing. We missed you a lot if you're watching this. But we still had a really fun time. And that felt really healing. These girls are, I'm gonna try not to cry because my friend Elisa says that I cry in every single of my vlog, which is true, but I cry a lot in my life, so. These girls are just, they mean so much to me. I feel so grateful and so lucky that we've kept in touch for the past 10 plus years now, and that we're still so close that we really share like intimacy. And yeah, Florence was really lovely. Then I went to Rome with my mom, which was also really nice, but that's when she broke her foot, so that was unfortunate. And then the second part of the month I came back to London, and all of the cultural things that I didn't have time to do and I was at home because there wasn't also that much stuff to do, I've done in London. So I packed the plays and the exhibitions, which I will need to slow down on at some point because I'm living on my savings at the moment, my savings that I've saved for the past 5 years, and eventually they will dry out and so I will need to chill. But right now, like, these are the things that make me really happy, that are really feeding me. So it's not something that I want to compromise on until I have to. And yeah, what else happened? I think that's pretty much it. And then it ends with Halloween, the end of the month. Overall, it was, a difficult month emotionally, and a little bit physically as well, because for a huge part of the month I was bleeding. Because of the consequences of my termination of pregnancy, which I talk about in the September vlog, and still hurting and obviously emotionally drained and still dealing with a lot of things, which I'm currently writing about right now. I don't know if I'll ever publish it on Substack or anything like that, but writing about it is already making me feel really good about it. But overall, it was still a healing month in the sense that I got to spend a lot of time with my family, with my closest friends, and with Truff. She came to Rome with us, which you will see. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bisous! Started the month by taking the train from the south of France to Florence. We did a little trip with my best friends from high school, which was very much needed. I hadn't seen them in a while, and I always feel better when I'm around them.
Ah oui, moi aussi, dis-moi parce que je me mets le doigt dans l'œil en fait.
Pardon. C'est pour le vlog.
Bonjour vlog.
We had a lot of delicious food. We went to a few local restaurants and enjoyed meals together, and sometimes a few drinks as well, but please drink responsibly. We're in our late 20s now, so it's not like we drink much anyway. We also, of course, visited the city and went to some museums. This is footage from the Uffizi, some of the main Botticelli paintings. It was packed as expected. And more delicious food. These were fried courgette flowers.
J-A-Y-D-A.
I know you're worried, but don't be, because of course we had space for ice cream. As you can see, the ice cream was just really, really good. But the most important part of the weekend was, of course, the Love is Blind France reunion. I'll leave you with a couple of clips from our reactions.
C'était temporaire. On savait que c'était le temps qu'on se trouve un appartement tous les deux. Mais en fait, c'est pour ça que la suite, en fait, elle est incohérente. Parce qu'au bout d'un mois, il me demande de partir de chez lui. Et je me rappelle les phrases qu'il me dit. J'ai besoin d'espace, j'ai besoin d'air. En clair, il voulait qu'on se voit de temps en temps. À mon sens, absurde après un mariage. Donc ça m'a brisé le cœur. Et en fait, avec le recul, j'ai compris que en fait, c'était le début de la phase de la rupture physique. Ok, je me permets d'ajouter quelque chose. Pour moi, dans un couple, surtout marié, on construit ensemble. Et femme, quelques jours après notre mariage, il m'a demandé de lui prouver ma valeur après un mariage, comme si, en fait, notre mariage c'est...
Forcément, regardez-moi cette bande de beaux gosses là, on attire un peu le regard.
Ouais, je le dis, et en plus il est blond aux yeux bleus, alors c'est tout ce que j'aime aussi.
Oh là là. Sabrina, vous avez fait un peu.
And you know, we just had to take a bit of time to relax after that because it was just too much. Overall, while that weekend was way too short, it really helped me mentally. I love my friends and I'm just so grateful for them. But then I took the train and I met my mom and Truffle in Rome for a couple of days. My mom retired this year, so this was our little girls' trip to celebrate her retirement. Hey, so we're here in our second day in Rome. Well, third day, but the first day we didn't really do much because we arrived by train at like 5. But yeah, what did I want to say? Yeah, yesterday we did a lot of like sightseeing, and we might have overdone it because this morning Truffe was a bit sick, like she vomited. So, and it was really warm yesterday actually. It was almost like 25 degrees. And I think her like being close to the ground, like it just kind of, and I kept like picking her up, putting her down, picking her up, putting her down, because I didn't want her to be like walked on by people. So I think it kind of messed up her stomach, and this morning she's feeling a bit ugh. So we're gonna stay around the flat for most of the day until like 2:30, where we have to go to the Vatican because today's Vatican Day. And we are visiting St. Peter's Basilica, and then we have a private tour of the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel. I don't know how you say it in English. Sistine Chapel? I think so. This little trio of things is really pissing me off. I always have pimples right here I don't really know why. My skin's been really, really, really dry since Florence. Because I think I went from like really warm climate to suddenly a bit colder because it was still summer in the south of France. Anyway, my mom's out right now because her big thing is getting her hair done in cities that we stay in. So she's at the hairdresser. She loves it. And then we're gonna go for a bite and go to the Vatican. The Airbnb, unfortunately, is not very nice. As in, it's a beautiful apartment. Like, it has a lot of potential, and you see that, like, at some point it was beautiful, but it's really not well taken care of. It's like an agency that clearly doesn't give a shit, and because it's just in the center of Rome, they always get bookings anyway, so why would they have to, like, take care of the flat? So it's in really poor conditions. And not that clean either, but it's a bit of our fault because I looked for accommodation like literally last week, and we also have the dog, so not all places take dogs. But it's okay, we'll make it work, but it's just really such a shame, and my Airbnb review is not gonna be good. Especially the cleaning part, like really, like the bathroom and the kitchen were not clean. Like my mom went to buy vinegar, like white vinegar to clean again. Yeah, it's just a shame, like everything's broken, and you can see like they don't pour any money into it, and the flat is going to like slowly just get worse, which is a shame because it's a beautiful flat in the center of Rome. The only great thing about it is the location. It's really, really central. Anyway, I'll stop rambling, and after this you'll probably see some clips of the Vatican. I will not be putting the sound on this because my mom was just commenting on these people taking wedding pictures on the bridge, taking it to the Vatican in the middle of the crowd. This is St. Peter's Basilica. This was the queue to get in, which was more than an hour and a half, even though we had booked tickets in advance. It was boiling hot. It's because this year is a jubilee, so there's loads of pilgrims and they have priority over everyone else. And yeah, we did an hour and a half of queuing, and eventually we didn't even get in. So we went to the Vatican Museum with a private guide, and that was really wonderful. I couldn't film the Sistine Chapel, but the museum is really worth it, especially if you can go with a guide. And then, because, I love gossip, I made my mom do a tour with a historian on the secret life of the Borgia family. If you don't know who they are, look them up because their history is just crazy. And it was such a good tour. The guide was amazing. We had the best time. We spent an evening at the Casa del Cinema in Villa Borghese, and it was dog friendly. We watched an old Sophia Loren movie called The Millionaires, I think. And it was so nice being able to be in the cinema with Truff, and other people had dogs as well. It was really lovely. And I was really lucky to meet my friend Julia for aperitivo. She's one of my best friends from university, and it was really lovely to see her in Rome. Fancy Truff every morning and evening. She'd go do her business in the park of Villa Borghese. Look how little she is. She's so sweet. I was so glad we could share this experience with her. It's so lovely being able to travel with your dog. I want her to have so many memories with us. Unfortunately, our trip came to an end a bit abruptly because my mom fell into a hole in the pavement, and she really hurt her foot. So we went home on the Saturday instead of the Monday, and couldn't do everything we wanted to do. But we went home via train, so she didn't have to walk that much, and it was still a really lovely time. I am back home in the sun at my parents' house, and when I'm here I try to help as much as possible. And one thing that I'm good at is cooking, so I cook for them. I try to spend as much time as I can home because, well, I have older parents and they are starting to age, but also my mom is a full-time carer of my grandmother, her mother, and so they need all the help they can get. And so what I do when I'm here is that I cook. So I thought I would show you everything that I eat / cook in a day when I'm home. Little intermission with my beauty in the sun. She's so beautiful, look at her. Oh, I love her so much. So I know it may be weird for some people, but it's something we've done since I was a kid, is eating raw cauliflower and dipping it in olive oil and olive paste, tapenade. It's been a staple in my house for ages. It doesn't look good, but it's really, really nice. So that's what I did as a starter. And then another staple of my childhood is potato mash with some kind of green vegetable added to it. Here was courgettes and some soles steamed on the side. They look terrible, but they're actually really good with some olive oil and salt and pepper. And then I made a banana cake with some dark chocolate and oats for fiber. I hate bananas, so this was for my parents. This is a quick intermission because I had to give Truff a bath. She hates it, as you can see, but she was a really good girl about it. And then for dinner, I finally chopped some vegetables and made like a broth for hours that tasted really flavorful. And I added in some homemade plins. They're like agnolotti, I guess. I think it's a Piemontese name, plin. And they're filled with cheese, and they're really delicious, and they cook in the broth. And then for dessert, I just caramelized some plums with some honey, and we had it with Greek yogurt and oats for a little sweet touch with fiber. This is just a cute intermission of my cute sister with her 3 chihuahuas coming to meet me for coffee. And this was a soft glam I did to go have lunch outside with my parents. I thought I looked cute. Touch for the very first time, like a virgin, when your heart beats next to mine. They were showing old movies in Monaco, so we went to watch His Girl Friday, which is a movie from 1940 with my parents, and it was actually so good and so funny. It's made me want to watch more old movies. And then we went to get a waffle at the annual fun fair that comes every year. And then it was time to go back to London. Look how beautiful the coastline is. The second I leave, I'm already grieving the sun. I'm back in London after a month and a half of being home, and I just came home to like a stocked fridge with my favorite things, meaning kimchi, mushroom soup, olives, some blueberries, some falafels, a random pineapple as well. It's Cam, obviously, and a cute little note. But yeah, this is like gonna take. It also comes from Costa Rica. It's gonna take ages to be ripe, but it's so cute. I'm seeing him tonight for a date. We haven't seen each other in over a month, and I'm a bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I want to look cute and I want him to like me. Well, obviously he likes me, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I'll show you the look after. I wanted to be also a bit carefree, so we're just going for a drink, do something fun near his house. And yeah, we have so much to talk about because obviously we've called loads, but it's not the same thing. So yeah, I'm excited. I'll show you how I look. I have no idea yet. Do I like my hair right now, or should I put it in a bun? Like a slick back. I've only ever done slick backs twice in my life. I feel like maybe it's sexy. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so this is the makeup look. I wanted a sultry eye, so I went for like a blue kind of graphic liner, and the rest is more a bit pink and bronzy. I quite like it. Not sure if I love the highlight here, but and then I have this like loose satin, blue satin shirt, corset. Is it a corset? Yeah, I need put some oil here. I don't know if you can see. and then just some black trousers. I just thought it was enough. I wish I could have done a slick back, but I'm late already, so what happened? But I'm pretty happy. I hope he's gonna like it. Oh, and all the jewelry is silver. This is actually a cross. I'm not religious, but it's a cross from that was given to me by one of my grandpa's friend who's Native American, and it has like blue turquoise in it. It's really nice. And yeah. Ooh, I forgot to show the star of the show. With this we'll go a beige trench coat and a vintage Dior little pochettes. So yesterday Cam and I made some sweet potato pies, and I had some filling left over of sweet potatoes, so I thought I would make mini tarts with the rest of the filling, but it's really not looking the way I thought it would look. I'll show you. Yeah, so let's see when it finishes baking, but I was gonna bring them for dinner. I'm going to a friend's place for dinner. I mean, I'm sure they'll still taste nice, they just look terrible. For my birthday back in August, Cam gifted me 2 tickets to go see Mary Page Marlowe, which is a play with the beautiful Susan Sarandon in it. It retraces the life of this woman through several decades, and all of the actresses playing her were really incredible. I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And then the next day, I went to see the Cecil Beaton exhibition at the National Portrait Gallery with Cam's mom, which was fun even though I didn't know much of his work. And then I went to a statistics lecture at my old school. I hadn't really thought about statistics in years, so it was nice, it was fun. And the next day I went to see the Kerry James Marshall exhibition at the Royal Academy with my friend Jess, and that was really incredible. I highly recommend going if you can. Okay, so it's the last day of October and it's also Halloween, so we are getting ready for Cam's party at his. I'm going as a French mime. So I thought I could do my makeup with you. Obviously I will cut because it's gonna take me ages, and talk to you about the books that I have read this month. So let me get ready. And I stuck my eyebrows with some hair gel. It should be with glue, but I don't have any glue, so this will do. And then the idea is to do a white base. So that's what we're gonna start doing. 1 second, I will wet the sponge. I'm just trying different, because this is grease makeup. I've never really applied. Yeah, it's much better. It's much better with a brush than with the beauty blender. Okay. So this month I've read 4 books. I got back into reading after a difficult month in September, and I wrote them here so I didn't forget. I don't have them with me because, funnily enough, out of the 4 I gave 3 to some friends and 1 to my mom. Actually 2 to my mom and 1 to 2 friends. One read it and then the second one is reading it now. The only one that I have with me is the last one I read this month. So the first one I read was La Collision. So I read 3 books in French because I was at home, and I usually read in French when I'm in France, just because I get my books in bookstores there. So the first one that I read is La Collision by Paul Gasnier, who's a quite famous journalist. He's in a talk show that a lot of people watch. It's quite popular. And it's the story of how his mom got killed, and she was on a bike and there was a collision with a stolen like she was on a bicycle, and there was a stolen bike, like a racing bike that was stolen, and the guy like was driving it illegally and killed her in Lyon. And he basically retraces the life of his mom and the life of the guy who killed her, who's a North African immigrant, like from a family of North African immigrants, second generation, and who grew up quite poor, whereas his mom was like a yoga teacher. She used to be an architect, like they grew up quite bourgeois and stuff. And he's kind of putting the two existences in parallel. And he is basically kind of saying that even though he has and his family has every reason to kind of find a scapegoat for their hurt and their hates, and he's basically saying that he would be, as like a young white man whose mother got killed by a second generation immigrant, he would be the best like target for the Front National, the far right. Yet he completely rejected that hate because that's not how he was raised and that's not his values. I think the idea of the book was quite interesting. I read it in like 2 days. It was really well written. It had really high vocabulary. But I do think from an ethical and like a sociological point of view, not that I'm a sociologist, but he makes shortcuts, a lot of shortcuts, because he kind of imagines this guy's life, and without really ever talking to the guy because he's a journalist and he doesn't want to be biased. But at the same time, like, I don't know, he makes a lot of like comparisons between that, basically saying that guy's life is like and his mother's life are like the two kind of perfect examples of two Frances that are not against each other, but like evolving in parallel and at like completely different like sides of the social strata, if that makes sense. And I do get it. I think it's a very interesting thought process, but I do also think that there are a lot of shortcuts and a lot of généralisation, we say in French, like taking one precise case and making it like a globality, like a case study when it's only one person and one person. But I did think it was interesting and it was a good read. Like, I don't at all regret reading it. Oh my god, it's gonna take me ages if I speak at the same time. It doesn't matter. Second one I read was my favorite one of the month. I don't know if it was my favorite one, because the one after that is also really good. It's Mon vrai nom est Élisabeth by Adèle Yon, who is a researcher from a really big school in France where all the best researchers come out of. And she looked at her family and she found out that because in her family there was always this kind of like non-dit, like story that no one really talked about, but everyone always said, like, if you're a woman and you're aging like towards the age you're getting towards the age of having kids, or like your late 20s, just be careful because women in our family are fragile. And it was kind of always there as a cloud, but she never really knew why. And then, I don't want to ruin the book because I really think the book is worth reading. If you read in French, please read it. And she basically found out that her great-grandmother, so this is all, people were saying be careful because of her great-grandmother went crazy. And they were saying that the story in the family was that the great-grandmother was schizophrenic. She actually found out by doing loads of research, going in French archives, loads of like psychiatric archives from psychiatric hospitals in France, that her great-grandmother was actually lobotomized. And went through a lot of different psychiatric practices that were en vogue in the 50s, and that she was most probably not at all schizophrenic and not crazy, but just it was a trend in psychiatry at the time to lobotomize women just because they were being difficult and they weren't accepting their own role in society. And two, she was probably like struggling with depression, like had problems with her husband and stuff like that, and they just put her in a case of like hysteria and schizophrenia. And it really made me reflect on so many things. It made me actually find out by talking to my dad that my grandmother in the 70s was sent to a psychiatric hospital twice. She was not lobotomized, but just it was something that I didn't know for depression, which I wish I had known sooner. And it was just really good, and it made me reflect on so many things, because even when she was in the psychiatric hospital, she still had several kids while she was in the hospital. So it made me think of how many of us are like the fruits of non-consensual relationships, and probably all of us, and how much trauma is carried through the generations because of that as well. I don't know, it's a big question. But yeah, it was really, really good. Third one I read was Passagères de nuit by Yanick Lahens. I think it's pronounced Lahens. And she's a great francophone author from Haiti. And it was an exceptional book, exceptional story. It traces the story of several women, and it's like an homage to her ancestors. So actually it's quite similar to, I mean, it's in the same topic as the previous one, just this is fiction, whereas the one before was not. Yeah, it's like parallel stories of different women between Haiti and New Orleans. And it makes parallels between them, and it's just a really good story. And I thought it was going to be nominated for the Goncourt Prize this year, but it wasn't, because it's always the same freaking people that are nominated every year. But anyway, and then the last one I'm just finishing now, I have a couple of pages left, is It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over by Anne de Marcken. I don't know how you say it. I think she's American. It's a weird book. I'm enjoying it, but it's very strange. It's about a woman who is undead, and you don't really know, like, and she's hungry and she wants to eat people, but actually her hunger, you come to understand, is actually grief, because she is missing her partner. And it's just very strange, and it's very poetic, it's quite gloomy, and I think it was a perfect book to end the month. It's quite Halloween-y, but not in a cliche kind of way, just in a beautiful, poetic kind of way. So yeah, that's all I read this month. I will come back when I'm done with this and show you the detailing. Okay, this is the makeup done. Pretty happy with it. I think it could have been a bit finer, but I didn't have a good eyeliner. This is a bit messy, but I think the lighting here is not very good, but overall I think I look cute. Thank you for watching. Have a great Halloween, even though by the time you watch this it won't be Halloween anymore, and see you soon. Even though I shouldn't be talking, I should be